Hello and thanks for stopping by. This is Dodge 'em for the Atari 2600, released by Atari in 1980, and I'm playing off of a cartridge on a Retron 77. This game is a cross between a car driver and maybe a little bit like Pac-Man, and there are a few different variants of the game. There's a single-player game, which is you versus the computer. There's also a two-player game, and in that game there is one computer car, and then there's the score car, and that's you, and you trade off the score car back and forth between the second player. And then of course there's a two-player game, where players take turns alternating controlling two different cars, the crash car or the score car. You have 3 lives in the game, and the goal of the game is to travel around the 4 tracks with the score car, grab all the points on the screen, and not get crashed into by the opposing car. And trust me, that car is trying to crash into you. While you drive, you need to run over all the dots that are on the track. That's kind of why I think it's like Pac-Man. And once you scoop up all the dots, you end up finishing the level and you start the next one. There are 2 speeds you can control for your car. There's normal speed, and if you press the fire button, you move to a high speed. The point is you never stop moving in this game. You're always going normal or fast. If you're moving at normal speed and you press the controller in a direction, you can move to an inner or outer track. You can only move when the tracks open up in the north, south, east, or west points though. This means you're going to find yourself trapped in lanes from time to time if you miss these openings. If you're traveling at normal speed and hold the controller in a direction, you will jump 1 or 2 tracks, depending on how long you hold in that direction. If you're traveling at a fast speed, you can only move 1 track at a time. The games get more difficult as you advance through the stages, and by the 3rd clear, a second computer car appears. At this point, the computer cars seem to move a bit slower, so maybe it's a little easier to dodge, I guess, but now you have to worry about 2 cars, so I guess maybe not so much easier. The truth is, I am not good at this game. Not at all. I'm just not good at this, and this is the type of game that can be over very fast if you're not prepared. I'm so glad that I am not dropping quarters into a machine. When I play this game, I usually end up playing 10 or more games in a row, because it ends so fast. You really need to keep an eye on the computer car to see where they are, and you have to try to speed up and get out of their way. Get far enough ahead of them to prevent them from cutting off into your track before you get out. Now, I understand the mechanics of the game, I do, but still, watching the way it's played, I still find this one really difficult to get a high score on. I think I've made it 5 levels in, and that's about as far as I can get. With this game, I have the standard gripe that I have with a lot of different Atari 2600 games. The colors. Here, they're boring. I think this game would have benefited so much if even they introduced a little more color variety into this game. A different colored car, or maybe different colored wheels, or maybe just the colored points that you pick up. There are so many options here you can change colors for. The Atari had more than 120 color options to choose from. Any of these colors would have helped here. Also, at the edges of the screen there's a big black gap, which looks like you should be able to drive off the screen, but you can't. Why not put a border up there of some kind? Maybe just circle the screen in a color. It would help visually, and you could change the color every time you beat a level. I think the graphics of the cars themselves, I guess they're passable, but they are really dull. They just look like frogs to me, and now I have trouble not seeing them that way. It just kind of looks like Frogger to me at a glance. This game, however, does have a really awesome cover poster. I mean, I have a cartridge that only has words of the game on it, but there is a cover poster on the box, and it's a picture of these 2 old-fashioned cars driving next to one another. The one in the back clearly is trying to crash into them. I don't know what it is about this particular cover, but Atari did this with a lot of different games. The graphics weren't so great. I mean, you're restricted to the system and the time that they were developed in, but they had these really great selections of cover art. For some reason, for this game, that cover art really works for me. It's worth going to take a look at it. This isn't the most exciting game I have in the lot, for sure, but it is good for a few minutes. I can see this being fun also as a party game if you pass it around to your friends. Well, that's all for Dodge 'em. Thanks for stopping by.